This week, I'm going to break the format a little bit to do something a little different. And I'm going to talk about screencasting and what are the best practices to set up your screencast at home. So let's get right to it. All right, so I like to use Camtasia for my screencast as my screencasting software. And there's a lot of them out there right now. I'm using QuickTime to screencast myself using Camtasia so you can see what I'm doing. So you go up here and you hit record. And you want to be at 1920 by 1080 aspect ratio, but I like to record bigger than that. And the reason why I do is because that way I can zoom in if I want to in any particular area. Now, you definitely don't want to do this because now your aspect ratio is not 1920, it's not 16:9, right? So that wouldn't be cool. So what you want to do is you want to go up to 1920 by 1080, and then you want to lock right here, and then pull on the side. Okay, so let's say we're gonna be maybe like this big, and we can change this up again. Now here it tells you what camera you should be using if you are using a camera, and here it is asking you what sound input you want. Now I have a Yeti USB microphone connected to the computer, and that's where I want Camtasia to get its audio recording from. I don't want it from any of these other sources. So this looks good so far. Now I want to come over here and I want to select present, and I'm using Google Slides for this. This is a presentation that we gave a couple of weeks ago. Now I want to share it, presenter view. Now what I like about presenter view is two things. Number one, it doesn't take up the whole screen. Number two, it gives me my notes. So if you have any speaker notes, you're able to still access them. So now I take this window and I resize it. And I resize it so that it fits nicely within my recording space. Now, nothing that's around here is going to be recorded, only what's inside this green rectangle. So when you're using slides, this little menu comes up. So you want to make sure that you're not actually recording it like this, because you don't want to suddenly, hover your mouse over this and then suddenly you see the menu. So you want to make sure that the menu actually lands under it, and then you have something like that. Let's not crop anything. Let's keep it pretty much perfect. Okay, great. So that looks pretty neat. That looks good. So we go back to the beginning. Excellent. Now, if you see on this side, you have your speaker notes. So if you've already created speaker notes for, your presentation, then it's perfect because they'll be right here. And as you click through your presentation, your speaker notes are also going to advance here. And if you're familiar with slides, you can also see what your previous slide was and what your next slide is going to be. So this is really helpful. Now, in my case, I didn't put any speaker notes on there. I normally do, but this time I didn't. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. I'm going to start recording. So let's start recording. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Boom, we're recording. Okay, so we're going to start from the top. Excellent. Now, this is some spicy Bacon Ipsum text. So obviously this is not my real speaker notes, but sometimes people have more notes in a doc somewhere. And so what I like to do is I have my Google Doc up here. If I have to look up anything, I can just open up a new tab and I can do that. And I can always edit things out, right? So if I'm, going through my presentation, like, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and suddenly I'm like, wait, is what comes after G? I can always come over here to a new tab. I can type it in, and then I can always edit that part out, right? That's definitely where you don't have to get this right the whole, from beginning to end. So, okay, so here you can have your text over here. You can have other sources of information on one side. And so you're going through your presentation and you talk about things like Filmkik focuses on visual content for social media. Whoa. And what's your focus? You have to decide what your company's focus is, blah, blah, blah. Excellent. So now we're going to stop recording and it comes up. And what's great is that there it is. Now, in the case of Camtasia, what's cool is that you actually get to have your video, your camera, You remember that camera that I decided to have a source? I could decide not to, by the way. I could decide right here, I can just go and, erase it. Or I can make it go away by just hiding it, and just focus on the deck, which is what I'm interested in, because I have a separate video source for my camera. Another thing I could have done if I didn't want to have the camera going is here, I can just say no camera. You see, and now the camera would not be recording, just the microphone and just the recording on the screen. So that would be how you turn that off. But in my case, I would like to have that as a recording, of course. So that's how you see it. So here are your two layers. Now, normally, if you're working with a video production company, what we would want is for you to then send us this file. So you're just going to go ahead and, here, rename this and rename it, like, for example, name it the name of the project. So something like Camtasia. Forgot to write Camtasia tutorial. And then ideally you have a date or something. Now, if you wanted to export this out, what you do is you say share local file, and then you can say here Camtasia tutorial, which of course I am going to do because I am going to need this to edit this particular video. So, and click export. All right, I hope that this was helpful. I know that we were just skimming the surface. It's really just how to get your desktop ready for a screencast. So if there's any particular questions that you have on anything regarding screencast or recording from home, please let me know. I started with the simplest video that a person can do from home, which is a screencast. And the second video is going to be how to set up your home and how to set up lights for videos that you're going to be recording from home. But for the moment, if there's anything that I can do to help you get your videos out there, please let me know and I will focus our next video on that. All right, thank you so much and have a good one. Bye.